So this week on Comics You Crave, we have a good one for everybody. We have Superman Rebirth, Volume Number 1. So the entire first, what is it, I believe 5 issues of the Superman Rebirth title. We read it.
Yeah,
And we have
Superman
all.
Volume 1, Son of Superman. It's 176 pages. It goes on sale January 10th. It's $16.99 in a trade paperback. It's it's written by Peter J. Tomasi, Patrick Gleason, and Doug Mahnke due to illustrations. And for the quick summary is, when the Man of Steel died, defending his adopted home, it seemed as the spirit of truth and justice he represented was extinguished forever. But watching from the sideline was another Superman, older, wiser, and more experienced, with his wife Lois Lane and their son Jonathan Kent. I'll save you the whole thing because we're pretty much jump into it.
Yeah, we'll jump into it. This is what it looks like, everybody. There's the cover. I won't show you too much of this because being a review copy, I don't know how much I'm actually legally allowed to show you guys. So I will show you this, and then I will show you when we start talking about the artwork, I'll give you one of the first pages of the artwork so you can kind of see what we're talking about. But as you can see,
yes, he
it's
does
awesome.
start off with a beard.
Yeah, I love this cover, by the way. I think that's awesome. I love whenever Superman's using his, I-beam lasers. And they're supercharged. That's my favorite part. Not when he uses them, but when they're just charged up and his eyes are red. It's awesome.
Well, especially when his son is trying to figure stuff out. And it's just like the way they show kind of like... Yeah, because when you see it's always straight.
When John uses his laser beam for the first time. So, basically, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about here, obviously, because... Well, this is the first collected volume. So, a lot of you may have already read the comic books. They've been out for a little while now, but basically Rebirth is, for Superman, it's a little bit different for a lot of the other titles. So for those of you who don't know, this is a little spoiler for the New 52, so if you don't want to know anything, you might want to skip ahead here for a minute. But in New 52, DC decided to relaunch all their heroes, kind of de-age them a little bit and give them a few different personality quirks and change kind of their scenarios. So for Superman, basically that meant Lois Lane was no longer in his life romantically. He still worked with her, but they were no longer married. They had no kind of a relationship other than just a work relationship, and honestly, I was not a big fan of it. I didn't mind them pairing him up with Wonder Woman, but Lois Lane has always been such a huge part of the Superman mythos. I wasn't a big fan of it, so I think a lot of people felt the same way I did, and one of the things DC really wanted to do was they wanted to bring back the Superman that we did know and love. So they had a small Superman event where the original Superman that we've all read for years, who was married to Lois Lane, who now has a son with Lois Lane, was able to come into the New 52 universe and coexist with the current Superman. I don't know if they planned all along for him to take over as Superman, but they brought him in so we could still enjoy that Superman. Well, spoiler alert, like I said, last chance to turn this off. If you don't know what happens to it, the New 52 Superman died in a fight with a bad guy, and he is gone. He's gone forever. And so this Superman, the original Superman, the Superman that we all grew up reading, is now the official Superman in this new 52/Rebirth universe. It does sound a little confusing. It is a little confusing. I read a lot of DC. I'm not completely caught up in every single title, so this comic book, when you first jump into it, there is a little bit of a learning curve. You may have to wiki it. I kind of knew what was going on, but even I decided to wiki a little bit. They don't spend a lot of time kind of filling you in on what's happened up until this point. They give you a basic, brief intro, and then just move this Superman into the new. This whole 5 issues this whole first volume does 2 things. One, I think it establishes Superman's son as a big character in DC Universe going forward, and also it establishes that, hey, this is the original Superman is back, and this is your new Superman. He is going to be Superman again, and I, for one, am really excited about it.
Yeah, it's been a really long time since I've read an actual Superman comic, and it's like you said, especially for someone for me who's not as versed in DC. Mm-hmm. It did take me like the first two issues. I had to read them twice just so I could just to really kind of wrap my head around it because I had no idea what to like. What the fuck, Superman turned into ashes? Like he's evaporated. Like what the hell? And so I had to reread that. But once I got past that and I processed it and I kind of understood what was going on, it made it a lot easier to dive in to when they started doing Jonathan, who's Superman's son. And once I got to that point, it was just smooth sailing from there. I mean, it's easy to pick up. It's easy to become attached to these characters. The main villain in this one is the Eradicator.
Eradicator, who is an old 1990s throwback villain. And he might even be before then, but that's the first time I read him.
And he was some pretty bad. He had really cool shades.
He had the Boz sunglasses. Yeah, no, there was a lot. That's one thing I really liked about this volume is they brought back a lot of the things that you knew. Like, they brought back a lot of the 90s things from Superman. There was a lot of classic Superman stuff here. Crypto the dog was in this. They had the Eradicator. They also gave us a kind of a retelling of when Superman died at the hands of at Doomsday. And so there was a lot of callbacks to Super. They wanted to remind you that, and they did a good job. It was very subtle, but they wanted to make sure you knew that this was the Superman that you read growing up. This was that character, not this new 52 Superman. This is the guy that you love.
Yeah, this was the black suit.
Yeah, the black suit, the long hair, the truth, justice, and American way. This is the Superman that we all know and love. And I did not hate the new 52 Superman. He just, they tried to make him more like Batman than he needed to be. This is the Superman that we know. He's about family, and he's about Lois, and he's about the world, and he's about always doing the right thing. Not that the old Superman, well, I guess that's a bad thing. The old Superman always did, the new 52 version did the right thing when he did too, but he was just much more of a abrasive, wasn't it well liked. And I mean, Superman is a character a lot of people have a hard time identifying with anyway because he's a godlike character. And truthfully, the new 52, he made him even more of a godlike character in a lot of ways, especially when he started dating Wonder Woman. But this is clearly a step back into the roots of this character where it's about family and it's about a guy who sees the world as his adopted world and that humans are his brothers and sisters, not an alien species, but who he is. It's who he identifies with and who he is, And I think it's a great idea. I was a little shocked to see to see that him and Lois had a son because, as far as I knew, Lois and Clark could never have children because the DNA wouldn't mix and match. So I'm excited to kind of see if there's a backstory to there. Maybe I'll read a little bit more and buy some of the old, I believe, Superman Convergence is when they brought Superman, the new Superman, this old Superman back into the new universe. But I'm really excited about it. I like the fact that he has a son. This is a new side of Superman that we have not seen before. We get to see him be a father. He's been a hero. He's been Clark Kent. He's been a journalist. He's been a husband to Lois. He's been a savior to the world. But now we get to see what he's like as a father. And I think DC was very smart to realize that its core Superman audiences is us. It's the guys who grew up with Superman, and we are all now fathers. And so, for me personally, I can relate much more to the Superman than I could with the new 52 version. And I'm really excited about that. I'm very excited about the direction they're going with Superman right now.
Yeah, and to be honest, there was a couple of times where I was reading it, and I looked over at my son, and I said, "Hey, come here." I was like, "Look at this," and he just kind of, and I was like, "Can I read that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll let you read it when I'm done." He's like, "Okay." And so he's like, he really wants to check it out, and so it's kind of cool just to kind of get that reaction out of him because I never really got introduced to the comics as a kid. It's more just like in the last 2 or 3 years, I've been getting a crash course from you and from Evil Chris and a guy at my work when kind of give me a crash course on DC Comics, and God, I love these, and the artwork in it is so amazingly well done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like every page there is not a weak page.
Well, and they have a couple different styles too. They go from so you can see here, this is nothing in the story, it's just some title. It's a lot more rounder, but the artwork, the inking and the colors just are so vibrant in this, and it's really good. I I really enjoyed it. Here's another kind of cover that they use, as you can see here. More of what I said I like with the eyes and stuff. It's a great comic. The artwork really pops. It's full of action. This is not, even though he's got his son involved now, there's actually, they don't hold back on the violence. I mean, Superman and the Eradicator are just beating the ever-loving hell out of each other. And the fact that John, his son, has an element where he's not invincible kind of gives the whole action a little bit of a drama that wasn't there before. Like, Superman wasn't going to be killed. And ultimately his son's probably not going to die either. But he's at least, there's a chance that he could die. And it gives it some drama that you didn't quite have with Superman. So
it was crazy that when they showed the scene with his knees all skinned up and stuff like that. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Superboy can get hurt. But he was firing up his lasers because he was practicing with it, but he's all bloodied. I'm like,
and I also like that Lois was a huge part in these action scenes too. I like when she, I don't want to give too much away, when she threw on that bat armor. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I mean, Lois is a great character. She always has been, and I'm really excited to see them. This is much less of Superman and more of like Superman and family, and I kind of like that. I mean, the New 52 Superman was kind of a loner, and he didn't have a lot of friends, and he wasn't really seeing anybody, and I like that they've gone back to the family aspect of Superman, and I am really excited. I blew through this entire volume in a day, in just about a day, and I just couldn't put it down. I really enjoyed it a lot. I'm very, very excited for this new direction, this new old direction of Superman. And I'm, just for the record, I know that I believe it's already happened, but I haven't read it yet. I cannot wait to read the Superboy Robin team up with Batman's son and Superman's son going and doing things. I can't wait. It is going to be so good. So, I don't know. I really don't have anything else to say. I really enjoyed this. I think it hits all the right notes. It brings you back to the Superman that you kind of know and love. If you were unhappy with the New 52 Superman, I think this is your. Don't give up. I think jump back into Superman. This is your cup of tea. I think it's really going to make you want to read Superman again.
For really being a first time fan, it's got me 100% hooked, and I don't like collecting issues one at a time. I'm more of a get stuff in a volume.
Yeah.
So for this kind of thing, it's perfect for if you're like me and you'd rather wait to kind of collect it and read it all at once. It's only $16.99, and I think it's the first 5 issues you said.
Yeah, it's the first 5 issues that cover the son of what I say was the son of Krypton.
It's 176 pages. I mean, and then like the end of it's got your usual, sketch work and all that.
Which, if you like the artwork like I do, it's pretty cool. They got some good stuff on there.
Yeah, so I would definitely say go buy it. It comes out January 10th. Check with your local comic book shop, or you could probably find it on Amazon.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I highly recommend you go out and buy this Superman Volume 1, Rebirth, The Son of Superman. It is a great read. It's fun. I mean, if you want to get back into Superman or just check out what the new Superman is, I think it's a good story. The villain, the Eradicator, is not the strongest villain, but this 5-issue story isn't about the villain. It's about Superman and his family.
Fight.
And I think, he's a classic. He's great, but it's a story about family, and I really enjoyed it. So I can't wait for Volume 2. But here at Geek Dad Report, we're gonna say, go buy my comic book. It's amazing. Dun, 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 dun. Buy it. January 10th, $16.99. It's a nice little after Christmas present for yourself.